Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday, everybody. We have goofiness going on in the studio today. She's moving. He's planning a vacation on a Tuesday. We're getting somebody to cover it. We're doing training. We're doing all the things. We're so glad you're here.
Welcome. Welcome to Studio R12 Stencils. We do this every Tuesday.
At noon
Eastern, and we're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube, and we just do this as a chance to give you guys an opportunity to ask questions and chat with us. And
yeah, we are here to answer questions, even if it's not even about the thing. We'll answer the questions. Sometimes Kari does some research afterwards if we don't have the answer right then, and she'll find the answer and get it to you if we don't get it answered in real live time. But she's Thunder Typer, so she's going to be answering a bunch of questions that way. I'm Patty, this is Kari, and we're a stencil company, and we show you DIY painting techniques that you can use for your making and your crafting. Your
crafting, your DIY, even if you don't stencil, you are going to learn a lot.
You're gonna today is a perfect example. We're going to be making like a metallic sponge technique, and we're going to do a rust technique and stuff like that. You could use that for any number of painting projects. So yeah, it's very applicable, but we're going to be talking all about Dad.
Father's Day. Father's Day is coming up. It's almost Father's Day month.
It's so we wanted almost 3 weeks.
Yes,
right?
we wanted to do this early enough so that if you were wanting to make a special one-of-a-kind present for Dad, that you had time to order it. But don't worry, we also have some quick things for you if you're super busy, or if you're moving like me and your husband
don't have time,
and your husband's going to get the short end of the stick.
Well, and you know, dads are funny. So when you think this, think dads, grandpas, brother-in-laws, sons, all the things. Like, there are reasons to make things for the guys in our life. Mostly because they buy themselves whatever they need. So if they have everything, what are you going to get them? So we've got some gift ideas today, and I'm going to show you the gift ideas and where you can get them pre-made, and then I'm going to show you how to replicate one.
But first, a couple of quick announcements. On our YouTube channel, we had some fun stuff happening and going to happen, and we just want to give you a heads up about that. This past weekend, we released our bee pillow cover. Super cute. It has the tea towel stripes, and this one is all about tips for painting on fabric.
Yes.
So we have that, and then this coming weekend we are
such a cool project,
releasing our textured brick coffee project, and we're super excited for you to see this one. It's really cool.
So this one is using a stencil, and you use the texture paste through the stencil, and Kari is going to show you all the fun things about how to wear the texture paste all over your body.
Yes.
Because I believe that's what happened to you.
I actually just picked a piece off of this desk when I sat down today.
You'll learn a lot about controlling the media, because sometimes, you know, we don't even realize we know how to do the thing, but we don't realize the tricks to it until we're teaching it.
Yes.
Like, if you want to learn something really well, you teach it. So that's
agreed.
Yeah.
And I do have some giveaways today. I'm actually going to announce one already. Lori Bowen on Facebook is joining us for the first time.
Yay! Hi, Lori.
So Lori, hi. Welcome.
And you guys drop a note in the chat and stuff, and let us know where you're from and what the weather's doing. So we had 70s last week, and this week we're 99. And so it's just weird. The world is weird.
The world is very weird.
Yeah.
So today for our giveaways, I have a bunch of
so cool.
these. This is our fall plaid stencil, and you get it, and it looks like this.
And it looks like almost like a candy cane stripe, but it's not what it is at all.
You're like, what the heck do I do with this?
Yeah, watch this.
And then it makes this.
So you lay it over this way, and then you turn it this way, and that makes it the most beautiful plaid. See how these plaids are darker? Because they have 2 layers on it. So it's the coolest stencil, but you need to know that that's what it does. There's a video on YouTube.
There is a video. So for everybody who wins this one, I will, when I message you, if you're on Facebook, I will message you. If you're on YouTube, I will have you guys message us. And then I will also send you the link to this, so that you can watch the video and see how to use it.
Absolutely. So let's get started talking about dads. Okay, so on our Amazon page, we have, and Kari's going to put a link to that, we have dad signs. So we have just amazing pre-printed, they're UV printed dad signs. And we have them so that you can personalize this. These two, you can put anybody's name. You can say Dustin, you could say Dad, you could say Grandpa, you could say whatever you want. And then on these guys, they're just in dad names and you have to choose from the list. This was one of our earlier ones. Excuse me. So then what we did is we took it one step further. So you can buy a pre-printed, this one is a Sawblade shape. Give us a thumbs up if you don't think that's the coolest thing. I love this. There's gears and hammers and wrenches and stuff. So it's amazing. But we wondered why we never, ever, ever made a wood surface for us to paint. And we're going to make a regular, just no cutouts in the middle Sawblade shape for those of you that like to make those kinds of gifts and sell them in bazaars and craft shows and online. I guess it's maybe changed from bazaars. I don't know. Like, I'm 35 years into this thing. I've been doing it a long time. But so this is super cool. But what we did is we made them into puzzles. So this one is actually, you know, a puzzle that you can take apart. But what I love about it, they're made out of wood. And then this one is in this really unique shape. And so I just love that it's a gift that you can sit down, you know, the grandkids can, I'm doing all grandkids because like I'm married to a grandpa and I don't give my sons Father's Day gifts, but the kids can sit down with dad and put the puzzle together. Grandkids can sit down with the grandparents and, you know, do the thing. So I think it's just super fun and interactive. And then this one is the garage sign, and it has little specialty pieces. So screwdriver and hammer and saw, and they're just really whimsical. So if you have a puzzler in your life, then there's a link in our description. And then this one also has special pieces and is a different shape. And this one I think is like 76 pieces or 80 pieces, something around that number. Don't quote me on that. But we just wanted to share that. And then today we're going to paint the Sawblade project. I'm going to show you how to get that effect of like rusted metal and that kind of thing. So it's going to be a super neat lesson.
And then I also have a super quick announcement that our Father's Day gifts, which are in our selection called Gifts for Dad, they are all on sale today.
What?
And that includes our brand new surface.
Ooh,
and our brand
guy.
new combo set
Yeah.
with the surface and that stencil.
Yeah, and we've got the stencil for, ooh, give me back the Sawblade. Rusty just took the samples away because I asked him to. Anyway, so we are going to emulate this piece, and so you can paint on this, and I'm going to show you the techniques. So here we go. The very first thing I want to show you is how you actually get the base coat on here. And let me show you my little sample board. So I had a piece of wood that we were not using because it just did not work out with what was planned. So I based a couple places. So I don't always start out knowing exactly how I'm going to get to where I'm going. So piece of cardboard, old piece of wood that you've got laying around can be a really good sample board for you to practice on and get your technique down. And I thought I was going to need to do step 1, step 2, step 3, but I just went ahead and built it up on these, and I felt like I had it fine. So that's what we're doing. So today we're going to show you how to do this technique, and we're going to do this technique through a stencil. So here we go.
Very quickly, and I'm going to do a little muscle for Barb. Barb says, why not make the garage sign for women? She does not let her husband in the garage. So the beauty of this is
you can personalize them.
Almost all of our stencils and signs that are garage signs are personalizable. So you can get Barb on there, Barb's garage.
Yeah. Oh gosh, isn't that wonderful?
Heck yeah.
So she needs a prize.
Yes, Barb. Barb gets a prize.
She needs a prize.
And I will send Barb a message and get her prize out to her.
And you know, I have to say, I'm guilty of being like stereotypical sometimes. I have 5 sons and I have a husband, and so it's all man things, you know. They're always the one that you're thinking about because I don't have any girl people to think of, you know, and then I never paint for myself. But this is the stencil, but you could easily be like, you know, Shelly or Barb or, you know, grandma's, you know. How fun is that?
Yeah.
I think that's just brilliant. Thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate that feedback because I didn't even think of it.
Well, and I think that the reason that we always think man geared toward these is because we often are trying to think of things we can do for guys, because most of our line
women.
Most of our customers are women, and most of our line are geared toward women. So when we can gear something toward a guy, I'm like, wait, you can do this for your guys too.
It's a guy. Guys can get painted for. This is great. All right, the first thing I want to do is I want to show you how to base this surface, because the surface is weird. Okay, and this is a lot. Now, these are a little bit sharp. If you didn't want these to be sharp, they're just laser cut, and that's how they come, because they finish it. Whoops, hi. They finish them precisely. You can just take a little sanding and just go right on that little edge, and that'll take that just a little bit away from the edge to not have it be sharp. But super amazing that it looks like a saw blade. And okay, but you don't want to do a lot of cleanup on this. So if I was to use a foam brush, you saw last week, I think, I did the foam thing and I made a mess on it was the phone stand week. That was the week before last, I think. Anyway, I made a mess on the edge of the thing, and it was like, there's got to be a better way. So the way that I would base this is I would use a dauber, a jumbo dauber, okay? And I'm going to use a dark gray. Our paints are acrylic. The bottles that they're in are so that we don't have huge, giant containers of paint on the table, and so these are just they're on an affiliate link for Amazon. Okay, so then we're going to take a dry jumbo dauber, going to pick that paint up, daub it off. We don't want to scoop and apply because then that'll make a mess. So then you can just take it out there and just all along your edge, you're just going to base with just very light pressure. I'm just tapping it, like almost like, oh, grandma, that kind of tap. It's just a love tap. It's not a no dog, don't eat my shoes tap. Okay, so, and it doesn't matter if we get it in through the tools, and that is how we're gonna apply that paint, and I'm gonna stop right there because I wanna show you the rest of the lesson. I don't want this to get to be 3 hours long. So that's what you would do. You do that all over just one time. Okay, so this one I've already got gray, and then I used our green stretchy tape. This is not frog tape. Frog tape is a completely different resin, application, adhesive, all the things. This, we call it stretchy tape because this tape, if you use your glasses, this tape is a new tape. Okay. So if you use your tape and you need to tape in a circle, you can actually bend it. So how cool is that? So that will actually turn a corner. So it works best if you have a line to follow. So don't try to freehand your circle. I used to do clocks like that, and then we came up with the clock template stencils, and that's way better. But if you need to tape a curve, if you mark it first and then tape to your line, you just pull slightly while you're putting the tape down, and it does a great job. So it also doesn't like lift your paint horribly. If your paint is brand new and fresh, it will, but not if it has been dried. Okay, so then we're gonna follow this line right along this tool right here. So I'm gonna take it and pull it and stretch it. And then we're gonna do the same thing over here. This comes in, I think, 3 or 4 thicknesses. And that is on studior12.com.
Yes, I will share the link to that.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do the rust technique first because I have that banded out. I'm gonna use one of these duster stipplers. These are cheap brushes. They don't lose their hairs terribly. They lose a couple, but they're super open, almost like a sponge. We're going to be using sponges today, and there's stuff to know about sponges, so you want to stay tuned for that because sponges are weird. And if you haven't ever sponged a wall, done faux techniques, you're not going to know these techniques. So I'm going to share with you the things that I know about it to make it easier. And then you're also going to use a large dome brush. Okay, so we are going to start with our base coat, which we are going to use a dauber for. And we are going to base in a brown. Always shake your paint just to make sure all the good stuff is floating around in there. And a little bit of this rust color. This is a messy day. We're going to be finger painting messy a little bit today. So those of you on the West Coast, did anybody ever get any sunshine yet? My friends were out visiting a couple weeks ago, and I don't think it's been very sunny. Okay, we're gonna get based with our dauber. Same thing, we don't want this to be a muddy little mess around there, and I'm gonna pick up, I'll go here. I'm gonna pick up a little bit of the rust color, a little bit of the brown, touch of the black. What the important part of this is I want to make something that's dark enough for me to build up on. I don't want everything to be a middle value, which means like, middle gray, middle red, middle this, middle brown. We want to have something that I can put a little bit lighter color on top of. So then we'll go over here. Same thing we did with the gray, and we'll just base that, not going over our edges. You could almost stop with this color because that color is just great. But we're going to take it further to make it look more rusty and junky. And Rusty's standing right here.
Not you, Rusty.
Not you, Rusty. Okay, so the idea is to get just enough paint on there to make it be the color, because then we're going to do stuff on top. Now we'll pick up with a dry brush, and then I'm gonna wanna keep this brush. I don't have like 20 of these laying around. I think I have a couple up there. But I'll keep this in a bag and then just seal that down so I don't have to get another brush out for each color. And you can do that with your dome brushes as well. Okay, so I'm gonna go with this brush, and we're going to, looking at my example to see what I've done, we're gonna just dry load and then tap away, but I want it a little bit wet, and I'm going to stipple by just placing the hairs down. I don't want it blending, I just want it making a little texture. Okay, so go on there. And this is just a little bit of a layers game. Okay. So see how that's adding that little bit of rust color. If you push too hard, this will definitely wrap around your edges and that'll make it a little bit messy. When I'm blending over here and getting on the brush, I'm pushing really hard. Okay, and then we can pick up a little bit of black and dirty brush, mix it in. That made a lovely brown. And then we can go over the top just slightly in different spots. Don't try to hit the same everywhere because this rust is actually a living culture. And so rust will actually always be different everywhere you look. And that brown is that brown. Let's get some darker black, not so blendy blend. And then I'm going to use this a little bit less here and there. I'm gonna step back, I'm gonna use my glasses, I'm gonna see if I like it, get a paper towel, wipe off excess, and maybe a here and there application of the rusty color. Okay, I'm digging it. I like how bright that is over there. That looks really good.
I've had my head down this whole time, so
Yeah.
now I'm having a chance to look at it, and it looks super cool.
It looks super rusty. Can't do it. It's like when, our gal that has, cat.
Cat.
You can't not say cat that way. Okay, so now we're going to take the tape away. And we're gonna talk about some of the sponging rules. Oh, and before we do that, I need to show you how to make your stencil sticky. So we're going to rust straight through the stencil. And when we do that, we are going to want it to be sticky. So I have the stick and re-stick on the stencil. That's why it's sticking to my hand. Okay, and that is an amazing product to make the back of your stencil sticky. If you want it to come away from your stencil, I have got, this is rubbing alcohol on my table. We have a wonderful video that is like 5 weird things you want on your painting table, and rubbing alcohol is one of them. So I just spritz out a little bit of it And then that's a really good reason to make sure that you subscribe and then ring the bell on YouTube, because you're going to be able to find what you're looking for, because we're giving you all of this content for free, just so that you know how to do it. If you're going to have stencils, like we have something like 6,000 something titles of stencils. If you're going to be successful at stenciling, you're going to want to know these techniques. Excuse me. Okay, so I'm going to take the rubbing alcohol and I can just rub the stick and re-stick away, and it will come sticky everywhere. It will come off with no problem. Time for a team drink.
Happy
Cheers.
Tuesday, friends.
Yes. Okay.
Wait.
Wait. Go.
Elizabeth has a question about the
Okay.
sponges before we get too far away from that.
Okay.
Do you like the natural sponges or synthetic, and what is the benefit of your preference?
I am going to talk about all of that in just a second.
Okay.
I'm going to use the blow dryer, so everybody go get your own team drink. And I'm going to get this dry. Okay.
Gina
Yes.
said, I love that you have so much on your website. You are a one-stop shop, which makes her life easy. Thank you, Gina.
We try so hard, you guys. This is when I used to subscribe to magazines for painting, I would subscribe to them for the places that had the tools and the techniques. And that was why I paid the $12.99 a year or whatever it was back 20, 30 years ago. And I would go into magazines and I would read the articles, but I would look at all the ads to find all the coolest things, because I want the tools, all about a tool. So anyway, we are going to talk about how you make the back of your stencil sticky, because when I stick this on here, I'm going to be putting it over my texture, and I'm going to want to make rust inside the stencil. So I want this sticky, otherwise it's going to bleed under and do all kinds of bad things. So don't want bad things to happen. So take the stick and re-stick, put it on your palette, grab another, had it already out, jumbo dauber. And when I was doing this earlier, I was picking it up like so, and then I was tapping it off over here, and then I was making sure it was flat. If you do this with your stick and re-stick, it will dry really weird, and it will it's not a good thing to do. You need to make sure it's flat. So tap it in, work it out, and then you come onto your stencil and you just apply it evenly, and then you pick it up, tap it, smooth. Okay, and this stuff is amazing because it stays sticky, and you can take the sticky away with the alcohol, so that makes it a perfect thing. I'm not gonna do this whole stencil, I just wanted to show the technique. And now we'll come over here. Okay, so we have to make this textury. So now we'll reverse tape what we did before. And I'm just using that line. And I'm gonna tape the tools. And I'm not gonna push too hard because that paint was just wet just a minute ago. So we don't wanna get, you don't want to get greedy with it, you know what I mean? So just be gentle with it, be respectful, give it a little bit more time. I'm just using the line of the laser cutting. Okay, we'll just make you stick over there. And then our littler tape. The skinnier the green stretchy tape, the more it bends. So this one will bend really tight, and there's another skinnier one than this. I think it's 1/8 inch, and it'll tape a tight little circle. And there's times when you need that. So I've actually taped my jean cuffs with this. You never know when things come in handy. Okay, so we're just gonna follow that line on the inverse and then tuck it away. So that's how you're gonna mask. And I already have my piece of tape out. Okay. Shh.
Wait, before we move on, we've had 2 questions about can you wash the stick and re-stick out of your dauber easily?
Yes. So we were writing on the edge of the dauber to be like sticky so that you knew which dauber was the one that had the sticky on it. But it washes out so well that I just didn't even need to do it anymore. So I used a brand new dauber to do that. And I had out an older dauber, but like it doesn't matter. They're fine.
Leave it in water.
Yeah. So
or wash it out immediately just so it's not drying on there.
When they're soaking in this water, the dauber is getting water from the edges of the thing, so it keeps the whole thing hydrated. And then as I sink my paintbrushes in there, a lot of times I'll sink the dauber into my paintbrush if I've got enough of them in there. Right now I don't have anything, but that's something that I do, is just to keep everything submerged. If you were worried and you wanted to get it out right away, you could just walk over to your sink. I just don't have a sink here.
And don't use soap.
And no, I spit for people there. You do not want to use soap because it'll make your foam, any foam product that you have, it will keep it bubbly. And you don't want bubbly foam products. Okay, we're going to talk about all things sponge. I'm going to get rid of this
Our friend Jarita's at it again today.
Oh, Jarita's so funny. I love you.
Jarita said she is similar to the stretchy tape because when she was skinnier, she could bend easier.
Same. Okay, that's so good. Jarita, you're amazing. Okay, so let's talk about these. These are sea sponges, okay? And let me grab. This is, let me grab this bucket.
Our sea sponge comes in a set.
Yeah, there's a set of, I think 3 or 4.
It's got 2 of those that you're holding, 2 of the varnish sponges, and then 3 different shapes and sizes of sea sponges.
So if you don't know about this for varnishing, base coating, or any of that kind of stuff, basing with a sponge is almost, and so you could do this technique, but when you can wipe it, man, it goes fast. And varnish, you can wring this out with clear water, dip into your varnish and go to town, and you don't get those pull marks, you don't get any of that stuff. It's super schmancy technique that you just don't even know you can do until one day, like the light bulb, right? Anyway, notice how evenly textured this is. So if I wanted to do a spongy technique with this, I would not be very successful because there's not as much open real estate, if you will. Now, also with these sea sponges, when you shop for one, if you're looking for a big one, you're gonna have to shop. On our site, we only carry small sets, okay? And they have a bunch of different textures and stuff. But I tend to shop for them and then I cut them apart so that I get the texture that I want. And then sometimes you get these floppies, like this guy right here, and then I take a scissor and I say, no, not today. And you try to make it irregular texture so that it's not going to be a line. You don't want lines and you don't want shapes. You want texture, not structure. Okay, and then the bigger your size, the better. And then just watch it for, like, this one's going to be a flopper. This is a dry sponge right now, but you can tell so I would take some time and just cut him back just a little bit. So when the floppers get on there, it's like, if you're stippling, and pretend my hand is the sponge, stipple, but then the flopper will get on there and be like an arm. Right. And it looks just really dumb. And so watch your floppers.
So Kat just asked, we don't use soap with any sponges.
No sponges, nope. Not your, not these guys, the polyfoams, not these guys, not these. You can use your makeup sponges. They were asking about makeup sponges the other day, and this makeup sponge, I have no idea what brand it is. I am sorry about that. But I literally, if I'm buying them, we order them over and over from somewhere. I don't know where. I don't do the ordering, but
I think we've gotten those from Amazon. They just come in a large pack.
Maybe we can find a link and put it in the thing. Yeah, and so these are dense enough to actually, you could actually stipple with them if you wanted to, but you can see, like, this isn't, the ones that are bad, there's like super, like almost like, really bad. So these are good ones. Sometimes you just have to have a makeup sponge, but no soap in any of them. Okay, so bucket of water only for the technique we're about to do. Get this set up so you can actually see. I'm gonna get my sponge wet.
one more question while you're doing this about
yep.
soap. If you've already used soap, is it no good anymore?
No, just rinse and rinse and rinse and rinse and rinse and rinse and rinse.
And you probably want to test it out on something else other than your project before you paint it, just to make sure you don't have bubbles. And
how much cardboard do we all have at our houses these days?
I have quite a bit actually right now.
Somebody's moving.
Boxes on boxes.
Yeah. Okay, so we are going to put out our colors, and our colors are going to be our gray. This is kind of a milky gray. It's not too blue. It's not too purple. It's just kind of just right, little Goldilocks there, but it's the lightest color. Put some of that out. We're going to put some of our black out, although I don't think we're using very much of it in there. And I'm leaving space between them. Going to do our brown. So in your colors, so we're not naming colors, we're not naming brands. I got into that trap. It was definitely a trap for a while there in the past, that you can't paint without the color. And like, I beg to differ. Like, you can find a rust color, you can find a brown color, and you can make it work. And let me show you something that makes it work. So if I needed a darker brown, I can add some black to it. If I needed a lighter brown, I could add some white to it. So you can take all of your colors and you can go back and forth, or you can go, buy some bottles of a bunch of different colors. We have, oh, Rusty, can you wheel around here? And so I can show the paint drawer. Does it reach?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, can you see here? Okay, so we have 84 colors of paint. So not too many. Some of the paint lines have 300 and something. So that's what we use. And there are a lot of the primaries, a lot of the black, white, brown, a good brown. Like, get a brown you like, and you're going to know what you like, and then use those colors. And I'm not trying to be facetious about this. We let the paint color get in our way. So I try to describe the paint colors and do that kind of thing so that you guys can see what we're doing. Going to have our base coat color, and that's important.
Well, and I also think it's important that if Patty and I use the exact same colors on the exact same
they're
project,
going to be completely different.
They're going to be completely different. And so it's kind of one of those things that, if we...
It's going to turn out to be you no matter what you do. Yeah.
And I don't want people disappointed if I give them, even if I give them a paint color and theirs turns out different.
Yeah. And that honestly, so I've done painting lessons for 35 years, and I've taught from books. I've taught my designs to people. I've taught, techniques to people. I've done colors courses. I've done all these things. And she's exactly right. No matter if you use exactly the same thing, there are a couple of teachers that used to say, well, she does Patricia Rawlinson better than Patricia Rawlinson, So, sometimes that does happen. It's really unusual. So, get some basic colors and then play with your palettes. And then as we move forward, we'll find better ways to describe like what kind of colors. We're working on some color chip stuff so that you can match if you wanted to get particular, but I encourage you to mix. Okay, and today we're going to be mixing with the sponge. Okay, so what else do I need for this project? Maybe some white. Okay, so we have black, brown, dark gray, light gray, and some white. That is...
You want me to grab more white?
Nah.
Okay.
I'm going to turn it on. When your bottle gets empty, turn it on its nose and it'll flow down to the front. Okay, so I'm going to get my sponge wet again because I've got this little fan over here blowing on my legs. Okay, so we want it super, super wrung out. Okay, and I got more out of it. You can take a paper towel. If your hands don't have strength, you can take a paper towel, put it under your foot, and that's called foot pounds of pressure. And now that's a good damp dry. So I'm going to go on this. I'm going to use my base coat color and I'm going to wet it. This isn't going to matter what happens. It's just going to be the wet coat to do some blending in. Do you want a little bit of water? I just dried it all out and now I'm putting water back in. A little bit of water, teeny bit, because I want it to stay wet longer than it's going to. So I'm going to sponge all over. No worry about what its shape is right now because we just want color on there. Then we're going to pick up in our dirty brush, and I'm doing a thing on the back side where I'm pinching it and making it rounder. So I'm manipulating the openings to make it, okay, so see how I've got just tips? I've got frosted tips.
Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Cheaper
Nice.
than the hairstyle.
I know, right? And then I'm going to pounce that on the same place that I pounced the dark gray that was the base. And then we're going to go on here and watch my arm, not because I'm being silly, but I'm turning my hand. And this is going to mean, so if I go straight across, I'm going to end up with the same exact pattern. So we twist, and I really, really, really like to twist as I am on the surface. And so if I'm going fast speed, you can see that it's just a twisty, 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 twisty. Okay, and now that looks like heck in a handbasket, right? So this is not an attractive sponge technique. This is 1980s sponging on walls, and people left them like that, and shame on them. It's a terrible thing. Do you know how many homes were sold for like $20,000 less because of bad sponging?
Sponging.
Yeah. Okay, so we get that on there, and then we're gonna pick up a little bit more water. I'm gonna go back into my gray. I'm gonna blot, 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 blot every which way. And now I'm gonna go back on top of that other color. And so I'm dancing around. I'm not trying to put it down in the same place. If I'm getting into my rust area, I can use a multi-masker. And so that's already looking so much better. It kind of gives me hives a little bit when I see really, really unfinished sponging. Okay, now we're gonna start picking up some other things. So we could tuck in a little bit of black. So the technique for sponging is gonna be to start with your darker color, and then you lighten it up, and then you start tinting your colors, and then you dance back and forth between the textures to get it to the blended look that you want. Okay, so now we're gonna tuck in. Now we start going some places. So we wanna go a little bit here. I got a little teeny bit of water on there, so it's not being too strong. Get some more because it's not being strong enough. And then this is where I really start. I'm gonna show you, Rusty, can I show you on my hand? So this is what I'm normally doing. So see that texture. This is what I'm going to start doing on the surface. So it's going to blend it a little bit. And so, but it's a quick, pushy blend. Okay, I want to see a show of hands for whoever thinks that this is super cool to learn.
We've had some really great comments. I love this. You're a wonderful teacher. Thank you for the detailed instructions.
Huzzah!
I love this technique.
I heard you all back.
Patty's such a good teacher. I mean,
Yay.
I didn't want you to blush on camera, but now it's the time.
I love teaching painting. I love it, love it, love it. Have forever. Okay, so we've got that kind of mushed on. Notice I'm not doing this everywhere now. So we did the first 2 or 3 steps everywhere just to establish the look. And now we're starting to put it here and there. Okay, and then after we get done, we're gonna be like, sketchy here and there, just a little bit. Okay, we'll go backwards a step. Let's go into the gray and go into the light gray. Now I'm assessing my board. I need more water. Ready?
I'm holding back his knees. I'm just going to let you know it is coming. Got the fan on. We got the mister on.
It's 90 stinking degrees outside.
Guys, the mister is great for your water table, for your paint table, and for your self-care.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, and so I'll blot that off because I think I probably put too much. Now I'm going to dance with twisting on top of there. Okay. And then sometimes I'll even drag it a little bit. So I'll go on there and I'll just drag it across. I'm trying to give it depth right now. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. There's darker here, lighter, darker there. So whatever is happening down here is not going to be uniform at all. This is a very fun, creative little process.
Have you ever used metallic paints with this?
You know, I don't. I don't know why, but you could.
That was an idea from Barb.
yeah,
Barb is just on her game today.
There's a touch of metallic in that garage sign up
Is there?
Just on the diamonds, though.
Yeah, just on the diamond plate, we put just like a highlight of it. This Sawblade is kind of supposed to be like super old and super like cruddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like, it's not shiny anymore. Nobody buffed it out. So, all right, now we're gonna start adding a little bit of our rust onto our Sawblade. Every single thing that we're doing right now can be layered up and layered up and layered up. And I mean, you could do 20 layers until you get it the look that you like. Okay, and I don't worry about it drying in between because that's just gonna help it blend. If it did dry, you could mist it with a little bit of water if you wanted to just go. Just give it a little bit of moisture. You know, that's certainly fine. Now I'm just gonna roll it around, just kind of give it a rub. And then I'll use like a backside to kind of blot if I think I have too much, or if I want a little blendy blend moment. I know I'm gonna have these dad words in here, so I'm gonna kind of stay out of that a little bit. I'll put a little bit, not very much. Excuse me.
I'm going to announce a giveaway winner.
Winner
On Facebook, Denise Hutchinson Nerdahl. I think I might have said that right. You are going to win one of our fall plaid stencils, so I will message you and get that sent out to you.
All right, now I'm mixing a little bit of black in with my rust color. Now I'm just gonna start wiggling it around. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And I'm gonna layer over the others. And then guess what? Let's pretend like I just completely jacked the thing up. Let's go blonk, okay? That's not pretty. So what you can do is you can step backwards. When I correct things in painting, I always step back to the last thing that I did. So if I was, now I did rust like 3 times in a row, but the last thing that I did was blending with the gray. So I can go right over the top of that and blend with the gray, and that's going to make everything settle back down, and then I could go back one more step to my lighter, dirty brush, this is my brush today, and then give it a couple of pats, dry that off, and then blend. So basically it's makeup, but you're using paint. Now I can go through, if I think my rust is too rusty, then I can go right back on top and settle everybody down.
Alicia asked, can you achieve this effect with other tools like paint brushes, flat brush, filbert brush, round brush, etc.? I know that the one behind you, that is the rusty looking one, you did that with the duster stippler brush.
Yeah, that's the one that we are using here. Yes, and that's the one that we used for this effect right here. And you could go like, this is wet, and so a little bit with this, what I have going on right now, it's a little bit too chunky. And so one of the reasons I have this brush out is because it's gonna fine it up a little bit. So I'll wipe off my rust, pick up my gray, maybe a little bit lighter, kind of come up with a neutralizing color, pick up my gray again. There we go. And then I can go on here and then so softly tap over my rust colors and just fine it up, just to make it just a little bit less. Your dome brushes will also stipple. This is gonna do a bigger stipple than the dome brush. I'm gonna use the domes for the lettering, and I'll show you how the 2 different textures would look together. So then I could pick up more of my gray now that I've neutralized. And so this area right here is just a little too chunky for me. So I'm just gonna tap it finer.
And Donna says that she uses her worn out stencil brushes, and that's what she does with them, is uses them for things like this.
Yeah, and it just depends on the texture that you want. So the tighter your brushes. So like these are super hard, like they don't move at all. This guy is floppy. So the more floppy, the more length, the less tight packed, you're gonna have open texture.
Yeah.
And then the more tight and the more short, you're gonna have tight texture. And so you can use like the combination of the two of these to get like your wombo combo kind of thing.
Well, and the one behind you that that you did, that one with the duster stippler, it's really more smooth.
There's a touch of metallic.
There's a touch of metallic on it, but
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
it's a lot smoother than when you use the
So, and
sponge.
the way that you get that really smooth look is, this is like a metallic look. You guys, this video is super cool. This is double stick tape. And then these are feet for the bottom of coasters. So you can make that look just like hardware, and it's super cheap and super easy. And then this is that rust that we mixed. And then we use the duster stippler to just walk the metallic colors around. So, but that's a slightly different than what we're doing here. We're making like texture and all that kind of stuff. And I'm really, this was designed by one of our other designers. So we have a whole portion of our manufacturing that does pre-printed things because we already have artwork, because I've spent 30 years making art. So, so we take the art that we make, or we take, have a designer take something and make a design for us. So we're just kind of emulating that style right there. Now, if I want to smooth this out even more, I'm going to go ahead and dry it with the blow dryer. Do we have that silver? Is that out in the other room?
I can use that.
Yeah. I think it's like a folk art platinum. Kari's grabbing one of those metallics. So let's go ahead, since we've had so many questions about it, let's go ahead and check it out and see what we do. That's not something that I was thinking of because we were emulating this one, but it's a really good question. Love it. Okay, I'm gonna wipe out as much of this as I can get out of my brush. I'm gonna go into a mix of the light and the dark and find a dry spot and dry it off on my paper towel. And now with this brush, I can start smoothing it if I want even less texture. And I can smooth specifically in areas that I want to smooth. And then I could also stipple where I wanted to stipple. Okay, so that just toned all that texture down. I could go into the lighter, and then just here and there. And I reverse my circles. I don't always go the same direction. I'm gonna switch brushes. My orange is in this brush so darn good that I'm gonna turn this whole thing pink if I'm not careful.
I don't know that I got what you wanted. I have a couple metallics in here, and then I have these metallics here.
Yeah, so here's this is shimmering silver. This is deco art. And I'm gonna get rid of this palette because I have no more dry places. Ooh, I don't think this is, give me that big, this way. So can you hear this? It sounds like chunky water. I'm not using that. Yeah, it's not gonna be good. So a lot of these, we had a flood at our house, which is where I changed from doing the pattern painting to doing mostly stencil painting because of so many reasons. I'm not even getting into it, but that was the transition period. Kind of got foisted on me. But anyway, so that is, some of these paints have been sitting there for like 2 or 3 years, you know? It's been a long time. Okay, so we're gonna pick up with our dome brush or with our China stippler, and we're just gonna put just a hair and then wipe it out and see what kind of metallic effect we can get. So we could stipple it. That's kind of fun. Super dry on there. So I'm putting like that much, like barely anything. And then I'm stippling it and I'm drying it off. I think it adds a neat like touch of just like barely shimmer. This is what I love about the lives. So I hope you guys do check us out every Tuesday, because like you're giving me the thought and then I'm taking the thought and we're acting on it. And you know, just like learning together, experimenting together, I think it's super cool. Okay, and you definitely need glasses to paint. So you cannot probably pick this up on camera, but it looks really, really good. So this is like the top thing that I would do. I am going to go back and add a little bit more rust, but I want to see where my colors land.
You move it around, can you see shimmers?
Is that helpful?
Yeah, you can kind of see.
Okay, I'm going to stop there. I'm going to tuck this into a baggie so that I can use it, because I don't have like 30 of these laying in here. But I think that'll be okay. Okay, that was good. I love it. Now we're going to dry, and we are going to put our stencil on. We're going to do our effect through the stencil, the rust effect. All right. So we have a couple of things. I'm going to take this off of my rusty tools.
Alicia asked, since you're doing metallic effect, would you also use metallic paints with such a project?
Yeah, I think I would use the acrylic paints first, and then I would add your metallic after. Okay. I think I almost.
Nope. Yep.
Hello. Okay. So now we've got the stencil has the block for this guy, because this on this project, we're kind of just trying to emulate this project. It has this block and it's slightly darker. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to lay this over the top. And it's sticking, resticking my hair. Okay, so we're going to go and, yep, it's lined up right up there. Gotta get it kind of even. And we're gonna make that a little bit darker. So now we'll switch probably back into this brush, okay? And we're gonna go into our little bit darker. Now there's a couple of ways. I'm trying to think of how would I make this happen? I think I'm gonna do what I call a dry rub. And so you rub off all of your paint. So if I based this a color, then I'd have to start building all over again. So I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rub the darker paint on top. Kind of like basically putting a darker makeup on that area. I'm going to pick up and peek and see, can I see it? Can see it, but I think it could be a little bit darker. Pick up just a little bit more and do one more round. That'll probably do it. And we'll lift that up, and you can definitely see that's just a little bit darker right there.
Everyone is learning a lot today.
Yay! I love that. I think this is so much fun. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing here. It's such a different technique. One more time. Okay, and then that's a little bit darker too. Now we're going to put our grandpa, we're going to put garage first, because we want to, and there's an etched line around this, pardon my head in your way. I'm going to push that down, and now we're going to stipple our texture. So we're going to want some rust color. So we're getting out our, it's a really just kind of dark orangey color. And we'll get out a little bit of black. A little bit of brown. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn our paper towel to a clean spot so I can see what's going on. And we're gonna mix a dark, so I'm mixing my brown, my orange, and a touch of black. And I'm definitely pouncing off over here. If you do not pounce off over here, you're gonna bleed under your stencil and you will be sad. A little more animation with that.
A little dancing.
Okay, so then we stipple on top. And then our designer did a fade, which I think is fun. So we're gonna do a little ombre.
I'm excited to see you stenciling with that. I've never stenciled with that before.
You gotta really wipe it off because it gathers
Because
a
there's
lot.
so much,
Yeah.
especially when you're stippling.
Yeah. Okay, so now we've got the color base on there. Make sure that we like how much we have. Then we're gonna go with a little bit redder color. And now we're just gonna touch, okay? When I want the texture, it's important not to push. You just wanna touch. And I'm gonna do that in the brighter area. Okay, and we can peek and get under there and look. Ooh. Drop it back down, seal it back up. But do you see why the stick and restick is so important with
Yeah,
this?
absolutely.
I would not even want to think about how much tape I would have to tape this down with. It's just, yeah. I'm gonna add just a little teeny bit of the gray on my palette. And I'm gonna do that to lighten that red. Like I told you, don't be afraid to mix your colors. So I just want some more texture. So I'm gonna lightly give it that grayed red. Now, we wanna make it darker. We want the ombre. We'll go into some brown. We'll go and pick up a little bit of black. Wipe it off, hardcore. So that's just a really nice dark brown. Gonna make it a little bit darker. And then we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of a swirl at the base to about halfway. And then pick up some black. And then that's gonna be at the very bottom. So I'm kind of working wet and wet. And let's see what our ombre looks like now. Ta-da!
I love it.
That is super cool. Okay, I want to do our little bolts here. We want a little dome brush. I'm going to go into black. My brush goes into the bag. I've got a little fan going on over here because I'm always warm. I think I run like 85 degrees warmer than everybody else in this building. Actually, I'm actually 2 degrees cooler by body temperature, which makes me get hotter faster, but it's still super irritating for everybody else.
She's normally sitting over there with a fan, and I'm over here shivering behind my laptop.
Like, that's why she types so fast. She's just trying to stay warm.
Trying to get warm.
Okay, so we'll go over here and we'll just get those dark. And those are gonna be the screws that hold it onto the thing. Love, love, love. Okay, and then we're gonna do the top ones too, but what I wanna do is I wanna save that because I think we're getting there and doing the thing. I don't wanna do everything double time and all that. I'm gonna show you a brush that you gotta have. Okay, this is called the Mighty Fine Liner. And I usually, and we have awesome videos, we have playlists of videos that show you how to do a drop shadow with a stencil, okay? And you could totally do that with this technique. But today I wanted to show you how to use a liner brush. And we had this liner brush made for us. When I used to do trade shows, you would go to the brush booths and every single brush booth was run by a man. And there's nothing wrong with that. They knew their product, they knew their stuff. but they're bigger than we women are, generally speaking. And so what they would do is they would show me how to use a nice fine liner brush, and I would put it down. You have to be able to drop your brush when you're painting. But if the brush is like that long, there's no room in my hand to do it because my hand is little. So I had this one built so that we could actually operate it. And so it's called the Mighty Fine Liner, and it's super cheap. Like, I think it's like $7.99, something like that. It's whatever year you're seeing this video in, don't hold me to that. Anyway, you are going to, when you use the liner brush, you're always going to put water with your paint. So I put some water out. I'm going to actually use the water bottle. That like lid is on there, man. And then we'll drop some paint. I'm going to drop some more. I'm going to actually glom some of that. And then I want it runny. Okay, so I'm loading the entire brush, and then I dry my ferrule off. When you use your liner brush, you're going to use it in a straight up and down. If you're doing it like a pencil, it's going to be all messed up. Okay, you have to use it straight up and down. And then what you're going to do is you're going to follow the line of your lettering. Okay, whoop. And then if you mess up like I just did, you just wipe it away. Okay, so you can, and if I want that thicker, I can do a heavier bead. And ooh, if I get far away from there, let me show this. You've got the click eraser. So first of all, you've got liquid. I was just going to spit on my finger. You could also erase it away with the click eraser and water. Okay, so you just follow the bead of your stencils. And you keep all of your lines, all of your liner brush lines to one side or the other, to the bottom or to the top. So I usually do left and under, but you could totally do right and top, left and top, left and under. So whatever you do, just be consistent. So you just go across that and you can do your lining, and it does a really amazing job. Okay, so straight up and down, that's the key to liners. Okay, last thing I want to show you, we've got some shading on the edge, and we do have to do some balance rusting. So we've got this shading here, and I want to just show you how I would achieve that. So take our dome brush in our black paint without the water, maybe a little gray. Dry, 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 dry. And then you're just going to darken those tips. Maybe darker black. Okay, we are coming into the close here, so if you guys have questions, get them out there. Look at how cool that looks on those tips. Love. Okay, and now, so I've gone halfway around. I'm not going to finish that just because of boredom. And I'm going to go in and get the last of our rust. Okay, so just into the rusty red color.
Sue says that other artists have started using the click eraser too, but she said she saw it here first.
That's right, you did. Okay, so we'll go just a little bit here, a little bit there. Oh, these tools look so rusty. They're so good.
We did have someone say that Dad obviously didn't take care of his tools if they were so rusty.
That's funny. So we could just rub that around. Well, this is a found. These are found tools. Obviously, Dad
Yeah, you're not
would
going to
never
use
do
good
that.
tools. Yeah.
My husband, Ted, would never leave anything in the rain. Ask me why I'm making this face. No, don't.
Ask me how we know.
Yeah. I love it. You guys, I'm so glad that you joined us today. And I can't wait for you to see what we have planned for next week. See ya.